when somebody's going through a big pivotal moment, what are you going to do? Not make an album, Adele? Billy actually was like just doing a vocal the other day, and she finished her take and she goes, "You're breathing at all the same times I'm breathing." You know, when you watch Olympic gymnasts and there's like the spotter, that's how I feel.
That's how you feel?
I'm not doing
Really?
the backflip,
Yeah.
but if I don't spot them, then they could break their neck.
What are we even doing?
What are we even doing?
Hey, hi, you found my YouTube channel. What the heck? It's Kyle MacLachlan. Come on, subscribe, smash the button, hit it, punch it, let's go. This is What Are We Even Doing? I'm Kyle. We have a amazing guest. FINNEAS is here tonight. Suddenly I'm a host of a Tonight Show. We're going to talk about just the creative process.
Dune, I hope we're going to talk about Dune.
Well, I've got some Dune material up here. Are you a Dune fan?
I am. I mean, I was a new Dune fan first. I was under...
Yes.
I was in the, ignoramus about your Dune.
The original, yeah.
But then about a year ago, I was on tour and we were driving around Europe and it was available to us. So we were in a region that had Dune. And so we watched.
There was only one country,
original
so it
Dune.
must have been.
And we liked it. We thought it was cool.
It's awesome because it's David Lynch. So, it took me time to figure out. We're not doing Frank Herbert's Dune, right? We're doing Frank Herbert by way of David Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
So
you put
Frank
Sting
stuff,
in there, dude.
You got Sting in a codpiece. How about that?
Sure.
That's awesome. What tour were we doing? Was it with you and Ash, or was it?
It was just me and my band that I play with as a solo artist. We were just traveling around Europe.
So listen, you're a LA kid. You grew up here. You homeschooled, which is cool.
Yeah.
Surrounded by music, or
I mean, our parents
like...
were like out of work artists, right? Our parents were actors that mostly just auditioned for stuff.
Yeah.
And like hobbyist musicians to put food on the table. My mom was like a teacher and my dad was a carpenter. My dad worked at Mattel as like a carpenter in the shop. Our friend's dad was a gaffer and our other friend's dad was a set decorator, right? So you're kind of like on the periphery of a lot of shows, but we weren't like, friends of, Jack Black's kids or something like that.
Right,
you know what I mean? We were friends with people on crews.
With the crew, That world is sadly challenged right now, just because of the film business.
Crazy.
And so many things are being filmed outside of Los Angeles.
I know.
That those crews and people they really struggle. So
I hope they put more incentives in place to film stuff here, because somebody comes to you and goes like, okay, we need to make it for this much in LA. Make it for about half in Toronto or whatever. And you're like, fuck, I want to make it. I don't want to not make it, but I do hope they re-incentivize. And I sort of, sometimes I'm in a fortunate position of like getting asked to like maybe go play a role on a show for a day.
Yeah, you did Glee, right? When you were
I did some Glee, but
cool.
but then, the challenge for my life, because I'm very busy as a musician, is like, if something shoots in LA, that is easy peasy. I can go shoot that. But if something shoots in Toronto, that's way harder. So sometimes I'm kind of like not able to participate just because of how far away stuff is. Like, do you want to come do this? I'm like, yeah. And like, shoots in Atlanta. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I have to be back in LA tomorrow, so I can't do that.
Yeah. Unless you had a gig in Atlanta or something.
Unless I DJ'd. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you DJ'd as well.
I don't. But I could.
But I bet you could, and I
like
bet it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a DJ. I like the idea of being a DJ in Europe.
Right?
Do you have people I'm sure there's a huge list.
So
but
many people.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlie of the last couple of years, I've been a big fan of Charlie's music. I bet you know this person. Do you know Slater?
Yes.
Slater's really cool.
Yep.
Slater just played Coachella. That looked awesome.
Yeah.
Turnstile was amazing at Coachella. That's like a hardcore band.
Okay.
There was a mosh pit in the artist section. That never happens. That's so cool.
I love that. I've never been to Coachella, so I don't know.
Oh, it's really fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe field work. What are we even doing?
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Field work.
In the crowd.
Yeah.
In the mosh pit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How muddy am I going to get?
That one's not muddy. So Bonnaroo is muddy. Glastonbury's muddy. Coachella's dusty. So do you wear a bandana?
Okay.
There was a thing years ago called Desert Trip, which was colloquially referred to as Old Cello, which was like McCartney and Stevie Nicks or something. And Bob Dylan and stuff.
It was the oldies. Yeah. You're a big McCartney
I
fan,
like the Beatles a lot.
Yeah.
Love the Beatles. Love Simon and Garfunkel.
Me
love
too.
some Fleetwood Mac.
Love that.
Love some Ben Folds, which is in the middle. I don't think of that as like new, but maybe not as old.
I agree. I grew up 70s, 70s music. I was born in 59. So
When did you move to LA?
I moved out just after Dune. So Dune was in '83. We shot in '83, but I went straight from Seattle. I'm from the Northwest. I'm from Yakima, but school in Seattle and was working in Seattle. And I went right from Seattle to Mexico City. We finished that, came back, and I moved down to Los Angeles in, I guess it was 85, early 85.
As a person who was not alive then, that sounds amazing. Was it amazing, or was it?
I don't
was
know
it
if I had
odd?
an appreciation. I mean, I was coming from Seattle, and even from before that, a small town. LA to me was like just overwhelming.
Yeah. Any place that you're going in conjunction with like the career you're trying to build and maintain, you're thinking of it through that. You know what I mean? When I've gone to cities like New York and London in a very career focused way.
Yeah.
So my relationship with them is attached to like how I felt about myself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Time. Yeah, no, I felt that way, and it was a little unusual in that because I came down kind of out of necessity because Dune had came out, didn't do very well. All of the projects that were lined up for me after Dune disappeared.
Damn.
So I was like, right, okay, got to go, got to get in the car and got to drive to LA.
So the bets that were made were like, oh, this guy's in this Dune movie, that's going to be great. And then Dune underperforms, and then they're like, "Oh, hold on,
Yeah,
never mind."
There was not even a thought about it. Part of the problem was contractually, I couldn't do another movie or a television show until Dune came out.
I see.
Dune, we wrapped it in the fall of '83, came out in the winter of '84. So I got a year and.
Is that so they can do that like introducing Kyle MacLachlan thing?
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was it, and I had no choice. That was part of the contract.
Right. That we want to break you. We want to be the.
Yeah, they want to be the first person.
Yeah.
And even if it was like something I did, let's say I did a year after that, they said, no, what if the movie gets held or who knows? So they just didn't allow me to do anything.
That sucks. So what did you actually do day in and day out?
So I actually auditioned. I went to New York and auditioned for theater.
You were allowed to do theater.
I could do theater. I actually did a play in Seattle. Then come the fall before the release, I started doing press.
Got it.
And I was out on the road a lot, just talking, interviews, that kind of thing, all in preparation for this big announcement in 1984, winter of '84, which came and went. and I remember I was sitting in my dad's office in Yakima, and I was like, and my manager called and said, well, they're not going forward with the Dune pictures or the non-Dune.
Oh my God, were they going to make
pictures.
a bunch of Dunes?
They had 5 Dunes lined up.
Too many.
Yeah, right? I mean, you know.
Denis only even making 3.
I know. Well, they were going to try to do all the books, and I said, that's pretty ambitious. Yeah. Career kind of went whoop, whoop. And then David came back to me with Blue Velvet, and I started working again, and then started to cobble together from there.
Yeah.
And listen, I had all the trappings. I had the agent, I had the manager, I had the publicist, I had the lawyer, but didn't have work.
Sure.
So that was up to me. Mm-hmm. And gradually it came together. So far so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. How about you? Did you sort of, I mean, you sound music was the beginning, you had...
Yeah, because my parents were auditioning, I'd kind of pieced together that they must have agents. So I said, can I be repped by your agents? This was when I was like 11, 12.
Oh my God, wow, okay.
And they were like, only if you really want that.
Was that as an actor or?
Yeah, as an actor.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure they were hesitant.
And I was like, well, especially because I think in their case too, they're like, it's a lot of rejection.
Yeah, it's a hard job.
And so I just was persistent. And they were like, all right, fine, but you got to prepare some little monologue to do for the agent, which I did. Probably found something online,
right?
Learned it, went and prepared that, and then they took me on, which of course is like, that's nice of them, but also like no skin off their back, really. Right. It's like, as a kid, you're like, yes, I have an agent.
Validation.
Yeah. But there were a couple projects, it was like right place, the right time. There was this movie called Bad Teacher that got made.
Yeah.
That was like every kid actor in LA got to be in that movie because it was like a whole school of kids.
Okay.
And so I was like one of the kids in that movie,
awesome.
Which is so fun. And then you're, on set with people like Justin Timberlake, which you can imagine as a 12-year-old is like,
I mean, he's gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Sure. And then I was already obsessed with like bands, and I loved the band Green Day and I basically wanted to be in Green Day. So I was sort of convincing my friends to play in bands with me and writing crappy songs together.
Right.
That was kind of my high school, was like playing weird little pay-to-play gigs. And
well, that you put a band together and you were actually playing covers, I'm guessing.
All originals.
Yeah. All originals?
All originals.
You're so bold and brave.
Always writing stuff.
Wow, good for you. Going back to Dune, I got to know Steve Lukather a little bit. And you sit down with Luke and you're like, what can he not play? Honest to God.
Did Steve Lukather do the music for Dune?
He was part of the group that did,
Oh,
it was David Page. And I think Marty's father at the time helped as well do some of the orchestration and everything. So you've done a tremendous amount of scoring. The beef sound,
baby.
I love that very much.
Thank you.
I heard the first few bars. I was like, oh, it sounded like Vangelis. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
It's a good.
Was I close on that?
Sure,
maybe?
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of that. John Carpenter, the synth scores for like Halloween.
I love a synth score.
Same. Same.
Yeah,
that was really fun to work on. I love this season of the show. I was, Sonny, shout out Sonny who gave me the job.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that he had this synthy vision for these characters because I would have done whatever he told me, but it was really fun to be.
What's that process? So I know the process as an actor when you start, you're approaching a role and you're working your stuff, how it all fits together, your individual part. Tell me, what's the thinking?
Well, I'll talk to you about Beef specifically because it's the one that just happened. I met Sonny in a general capacity in 2024. We liked each other, just like very similar to this, no microphones, but similar to this, just hanging.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, my agent was like, would you be interested in maybe working on the music for this new season? And I was like, oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. And then you meet and talk about the project. And I got access to the first 4 scripts of the season. So I got to be inspired.
Right.
And I got a lot of sort of world. I got a lot of like, oh, this takes place at a country club. The Oscar Isaac's character is this general manager and this like super kind of uptight OCD guy,
right?
And his life is kind of unraveling and his marriage is kind of falling apart. And so I made this demo piece for Sonny after reading the first 4 scripts that was all these like sort of sprinkler sounds and bees buzzing and then synths and stuff. But I wanted it to really feel like you were at this sort of haunted country club,
right?
And that got me the job. And then Sonny wrote the rest and they started shooting. And while they were shooting the show, I was just like sending pieces. I was making stuff every day,
right?
Just sort of noodling, striking out a lot, and also landing a couple times, a couple things where he's like, this is really cool. Luckily, one piece that I made while they were still writing and shooting was this piece that I titled Vicious Thoughts, because you got to come up with, it's instrumental, but you got to come up with some kind of title. And so I sent that to him and that really connected for him. And so I think ultimately they had that by the time they were shooting the final episode, the season finale.
Right.
I think that gave it a kind of a like cohesion in his mind of like, we're shooting this scene and I know that this piece of music's going to play. And I think Oscar and Carrie maybe had it was called earwigs, the little like tiny speaker so they could hear it while they shot.
That's
very
amazing.
Cool. It's
really
really
amazing.
fun.
We did it on Blue Velvet.
That's
David,
cool.
he played Shostakovich over some of the scenes.
So cool.
Which is really helpful.
Yeah.
I just find it so interesting that you're able to just based upon, because you don't have a visual. So you're doing it off of the script, am I right? Yeah.
That piece, many pieces, no visual, and then I'd say 60% of the show with visual, because then they start editing the episodes
and throwing it your way. You get to see
and there's
it.
stuff where they're like, here's this scene, and the music needs to crescendo, and then the character drops the thing, and it needs to cut out. So a lot of it ultimately is to picture, which is easier and harder, as you can imagine.
Did they have a locked print at that point, or was it like
no? And in fact, sometimes you'd make something that would line up beautifully, and they'd be like, we cut a couple episodes out, got to change it, which is cool, But
yeah, you have to be light on your
challenging.
feet. Yeah, challenging. That'd be a similar thing in Fallout where we do all the special effects. You go, why does something take so long?
Yeah.
And they want to lock the print so soon because the special effects are going to fit between this point and this point, and they're expensive.
Can't change it. Yeah,
and
of course.
Can't change it. So once but you got to lock it, and you got to lock it early.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy. It's not an easy process.
Yeah.
But can you talk to me just a bit how you came to the sound?
Sure. Just
the
score.
Yeah, you just you talked about.
There's the elements of the like sort of landscape art. That's a kind of a thing I've leaned pretty heavily on in my whole career. So like Billy's music is sort of full of like what I'd call like found sound or sound effects or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I just like sort of world, nature, Foley, ambient sound. The other way in was that Josh, one of the 4 main characters that Oscar Isaac plays, has this really sad man cave that he spends a lot of time in, especially in the first couple episodes.
Okay.
And it's partially to underscore that he's bad with money. And so he has like sports artifacts and like shoes that Michael Jordan wore and a golf club Tiger Woods broke when he was angry. And then he has a Moog. He has like an old vintage Moog
synthesizer,
which are really expensive. And so I think initially I was like, that would be really funny if the score sort of sounded like if he was like whatever he's hearing in his head is very synthy score.
I love that was your inspiration.
So that was fun.
I love that.
I was just sort of amused by that. But then it ended up being this cool texture. And then there is a scene, I think near the end of episode 2, where he's like playing a synth piece. And so I got to like play this little noodle thing that Oscar had to learn, which was fun.
Which is supposed to be very, would you say amateurish? It was
yes,
like
correct. And in fact, Oscar, I think, is probably good at everything. He seems like one of those guys.
Yeah,
like
I think so
if
too.
he was playing like a race car driver, he'd probably become a really good race car driver.
Right.
And so when he was learning, he was like, I'm really proud. I was like, no, the character's supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be bad. Don't worry about it. But he, of course, he got like probably better than I.
Yeah, he wanted to be perfect.
Yeah,
I remember when the synthesizer came out. Oh God, it was 70s. That
why are you asking me? This is I was.
You weren't even born yet.
Yeah,
well, you're an old soul. That's why I want to know. When I did the Doors, I learned all the songs.
Right.
It wasn't like with my son now. You can go online and
just look it all
call up the
right,
chart.
You're just listening to him playing.
I'm listening and trying to go. Okay, I think he's here. I think he's here.
The secret though is everything you're finding online is just a dude like that. There's so many errors. And did you ever sit with the person you were playing? And
I sat with Ray. Yeah, I played Ray.
Right.
But we didn't sit and talk about the music. I should have. That's what I should have.
Well, but
done.
if you'd been like, if you'd played a part, I guarantee you he'd be like, almost. You know what I mean? Like, it was probably.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You probably played it a little differently.
Yeah. But we had the bass keyboard, which is up high off the piano, which was interesting to learn how to do that. I mean, I play piano, so I understand that. But it was cool. But I would learn the song. And then because I carried a little keyboard around, and then Oliver would cut and said, "No, we're not going to do that song. We're going to do this song." I'm like, "Oh, the fuck!" And like, thanks. And the one song I didn't learn, at the end, the end is
then
got
you
a
have
whole
to do
new
it.
thing. Yeah, and he had never shot my hands before or anything like that.
And then you're shooting your hands.
On the end, camera, Bob Richardson takes the camera right over my hands. I'm like,
yeah, but you know what's a pet peeve of mine, and this is nobody cares, so it's just a private me as a musician
I think we share
thing,
this pet peeve.
Is that even if you learned, like, let's say you learned the exact song and you nailed it in every take,
right?
Then when they're editing it, they use a moment from a different part of the song,
right?
Just because the light or the focus or the camera move is great.
Yeah.
But it's from another part of the song.
Yeah.
So I, who play keyboard, go like, that's not what he's playing. But no one that isn't a musician knows that.
I agree with you.
But that
hate
drives me crazy.
I hate that. And someone who doesn't play the piano.
Yeah.
Or know how to play the piano, trying to play the piano.
Sure, of course.
Because it's a vibe and a look. And,
it's a vibe and a look.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Same with guitars. Frank Whaley never learned sorry, Frank, you never learned a guitar. I mean, learning a guitar is tough. That's
very tough. Yeah.
But he never learned Robbie Krieger's. I just added him. Sorry.
I was just talking to a writer who's making a movie about music, and I was like, there's a time and a place for accuracy. Like there's a movie, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. The band that plays in that movie, that really does sound the way a band sounds in a club, which is bad. Like, do you know what I mean? I remember watching it and thinking like, they nailed it. Like that's how bands sound in clubs. But if you were making a movie where it's like they're supposed to sound amazing, you got to fudge it a little bit, Yeah. You ever seen Once, the Glenn Hansard movie?
No.
Oh my God. It's about an Irish busker, and he falls in love with a woman from the Czech Republic, and it's fantastic. And it's Glenn Hansard plays like basically himself, and he's singing all these songs that he wrote in real life. There's a song called Falling Slowly that became huge because of that movie that you've heard. But that's a pretty good example of like pretty much how it sounds, and they shoot scenes in the studio and you're like, that's how it's and it is all real musicians playing, just the way to do it. And the songs are great. It's that going into a studio when going back to Dune and Toto, they brought me over to the studio. It was over in the Valley. What an experience to go into where you actually hear the sound, what they're hearing, what they're going to lay down. Yes. It is unlike anything you're going to hear out of a speaker, first of all, and unlike anything you're going to hear at a show, I think. It's so clean. Well, them in particular. Yeah. Because they're all studio musicians, and they were just like, my God. That's awesome. The talent level is high. Holy smokes. So cool. Yeah. Nobody misses and they just talk to each other. They talk to each other with the instruments, and like as if it's like a regular conversation. That's awesome. Being a little tiny musician myself, it's like, oh, you have an appreciation for something when you don't do it. You're like, oh, yeah. Lord. Well, I think the most appreciation you can have for something is when you do it a little. I agree. If you don't play baseball at all and you watch professional baseball, you're like, cool. If you play a little bit of baseball, you're like, oh my God, how is he making that catch? How is he hitting that? You know what I mean? Like that's really impressive. Being a golfer, I have that experience. So I grew up playing golf, and I'm like, I watch what they are able to do. Right, you watch the best in the world, and you think like, oh my God, to play like that. Yeah, yeah. Anybody that you go like, wow. I feel that way about Feist. Feist, I'm a big fan of. Yeah. I just saw Raphael Sadiq play. I was really wowed by Raphael Sadiq. I feel that way about Flea. I brought him up a little bit ago. Yeah. But like when Flea plays the bass, I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah. So good. It's another level. Yeah. And then drummers. Like drumming is the instrument I'm the least good at. And so like a great drummer, I romanticize a great drummer.
Yeah.
You know,
John Bonham is one of my favorite drummers.
Pretty great.
Zeppelin, pretty awesome.
Yeah, Chad Smith is great. Like Steve Jordan's unbelievable. Yeah.
What did you think of the movie Whiplash?
Fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I thought it was pretty good, I thought.
I love J.K. Simmons in that movie.
He was amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
He was given an opportunity to really play just a complete ass, and it was like he did such a great job. I was like, oh my God, I loved it. I want to ask you about, just because I recently saw on one of the clips, is like there's a moment you're on stage, you're playing for Billy, and the connection that you have with her was something magical, first of all, and like so much love and so much support, and just, you know, she's your sister, but you also connect on another level that I saw, and I don't know if just talk about that or...
Sure.
I mean,
I assume that people who are not related but have done as many hours of making music together as we have probably feel similarly, but I think especially because we're related and have our entire sort of childhood dialogue to add to the equation. Yeah, it's very, you know, telepathic is the way that it feels.
That's a good word.
We were in the studio yesterday working on something, and we kept saying the thing, I think this next part should be just octaves, and Billy would be like, I was about to say that. Like, I think that we both are really on the same wavelength a lot, which is an amazing feeling. It's a great gift. And, you know, I have luckily a couple times had creative relationships where I have gotten enough hours into something where I'm like, oh, you're just flying. It's a great feeling. You know, you're talking about the Lukather and co.
Yeah.
I assume they probably feel that way, but it's a real wonderful feeling, especially like singing together with somebody where you are watching their, you know, they're ending the word and they're taking the breath, and it's really fun. Billy actually was like just doing a vocal the other day, and we were probably about as far away from each other as we are now, and she finished her take and she goes, you're breathing at all the same times I'm breathing. And I was like, totally.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not sitting there singing, I'm just producing, right? So I'm just like recording and stopping.
That's the connection that I saw, which I thought was fascinating. And it's similar, I think, when you get in front of the camera, if you are really in the moment, in the scene with the other actor.
Interesting.
It's there's this circle of breath, or something is happening. You know what I mean? And that cycle. Part
of it also, though, is if you're being a good actor, you're pretending to not know what they're saying or when their sentence is over, right?
Right.
So even though maybe if it's a play, you've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But you still have to be shocked.
Yeah.
Which is the thing I can't be with Billy, right? I have to be like, you know what I mean? I have to like come in right at the end.
Come on.
Yeah. You have to sort of be taken aback every time.
When you're so in the moment on the stage, or let's say in front of the camera,
sure.
You somehow, I don't know what happens, but you are hearing it for the first time, even though you've done it many times.
Well, and sometimes you do. I mean, there's a clip from like a year and a half ago of some shows Billy played, because now I don't tour with her all the time, but when I'm in the same city for whatever promo, or I'm on tour also, like I come out and do a song. We were doing a song called I Love You, and she hits a really tasty run, and so I'm just reacting. I'm just enjoying it, you know. That's a great feeling.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I get it. That's the magic. That's, I think, what we work so hard for.
Yeah.
Those moments.
Yeah, you know, when you watch Olympic gymnasts and there's like the spotter, that's how I feel.
That's how you feel?
I'm not doing the backflip.
Yeah.
But if I don't spot them, then they could break their neck.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great analogy. I think that's exactly what I see. You're watchful.
Yeah.
And you're with them, but you're also like, if it's going to go into who knows, something different happens, or there's something, you know, you go right with it.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Which I assume that's probably an acting thing too.
That is truly an acting thing. If you're working with a good actor, I talk about Ethan Hawke all the time, but I love working with Ethan because each take is going to be a little different. And I like that. We're not, remaking the wheel here, but it's like there's subtle shifts and things that happen, which should happen in every take.
Yeah.
And if you have the right kind of environment with a director who likes that.
Right. Right. And not too many things where it'll get lost. I assume you've done it enough that you're like, this is a steady cam. It's going to be hard for me to suddenly bend way down. I'm going to be out of frame for this.
I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Talk a little bit about with Ash. So you have kind of a duo going out, band songs. I mean, it's kind of amazing. You guys have worked together for
several years. Yeah. So Ash and I met. We used to have the same we used to be on the same management roster, and so we got plugged in that way in like 2017, and I just liked her and liked writing with her, and that's like you you like somebody's vibe or you don't. And Ash is one of those people where I was like, oh, I just think this person's funny and interesting and happy to hang out with them. Nice. And that always makes you make more stuff together. In 2018 or something, she was going through a divorce. She played me a bunch of her new music, not to be too much of an opportunist, but like when somebody's going through a big pivotal moment, what are you going to do? Not make an album, Adele? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's how it goes.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Listen, you shouldn't blow up your life to make albums, but Adele didn't and Ash didn't. They just went through, you know, emotional experiences and got to make art, you know, while they did that.
Yeah.
I remember her sort of going through this tumultuous time and being like, bet these songs are going to be really good. And I was right. And they were.
Did she play them for you with the idea that maybe?
She just was like, we just play each other music. Like she was just over at my house the other day playing me and Claudia music. And I'm not going to work on it. I just was like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I often try not to be too bossy, you know? If somebody's playing me their art, if you were showing me something, I wouldn't be like immediately giving suggestions. I think that's kind of but I was so moved by it and I felt so inspired by it that I couldn't help myself. So she was playing me songs and I was like, oh my God, this song's amazing. You should start the whole album with like a version of this song that should go like this and then this song, you know, it's just giving too much input.
Yeah.
And she was like, you should executive produce this album because you're, you know. So I did executive produce what was going to be an album, but then became 2 EPs because sometimes these things happen. That contained the song Moral of the Story. The song comes out. It gets very underserved. Sometimes this happens. There's a thing on Spotify called New Music Friday that's like 60 songs long, maybe even 100.
Right.
And so you can be like one of the top songs or you can be like 40 songs in.
Right.
Both are fine.
Right.
But every week it's a new playlist, New Music Friday.
Wow.
And so New Music Friday rolls around and this song that I and Ash and everybody that's heard is like, this is amazing. Comes out, doesn't even get on the playlist at all. Not even like last on the playlist.
Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
damn, that sucks. Just doesn't get the exposure that I think it needs.
Yeah.
But I go see her shows. She plays the Troubadour. Whenever she plays that song, everybody goes off. Everybody loves that song.
Yeah.
So like a year goes by and then there's a movie called To All the Boys I Loved Before, a Netflix film, and there's a sequel. She's like, I think they're going to put my song in the movie. And sometimes like that could be like in the background of a coffee shop, whatever. So the use of that song in the movie is like, it's like a music video. The lead actress in the movie is like singing the song.
Okay.
And I called Ash and I was like, this is going to change your life.
Yeah.
And she was like, you think so? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
Because the movie was successful.
Yeah.
And so it really did. And it made the song, you know, it gave the song the exposure that the song needed for people to know how good it is because it's such a great song. And then we did a duet together a year later that was fun. And then she hit me up in like 2023 and was like, should we do an album together? And I think our music is like in the same universe. And I loved the idea of it. And I feel like there's a big Fleetwood Mac shaped hole in bands right now. There isn't Fleetwood like Mac. Bands with male and female voices all at the same time. And so we made this album and put it out in October. And I love that album.
This is so much fun having you on. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Let's do the game.
Should we do the game? We're going to play a deranged game because all the games we play are deranged.
Nice.
It's called Cue the Dramatics.
Right.
When we come back, I'm going to explain. So don't go away. We're back with a segment, Phineas, we designed just for you called Cue the Dramatics, as an ode to your songs, making people feel so many big emotions.
Okay.
And your work spanning into Oscar-winning movies. Pretty amazing. We are going to play a game where I read aloud emotional lines from famous love songs and well-known romance films. You will have to tell me if the quote is from a song or a movie. Very right answer. I will not honk my horn, but I will blow this noisemaker. All right, here we go. First one. Baby, I'm a man. Maybe I'm a lonely man.
Maybe I'm amazed.
Yeah, perfect. All right, excellent. Next. I'm letting life hit me until it gets tired. Then I'll hit back. It's a classic. Rope-a-dope. This is trickier.
That's La La Land.
That is La La Land. Yeah. You are amazing. Never doubt yourself. Okay. Oh, toot. You get 2 toots on that one because of a second. Okay, that was tougher. And every time you breathe his air, just know I was already there.
Sabrina Carpenter, taste.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The trees were bare naked, and so were we.
That's
Too
the
old.
Hudson. That's a song I sing on, but Ash wrote that line. It's a great line.
Yeah.
Ooh, devastating.
Yeah. I like that. Next. I love her smile. I love her hair. I love her knees. I love how she licks her lips before she talks. I love her heart-shaped birthmark on her neck.
I think this is 500 Days of Summer,
You're
right?
absolutely right. My gosh, this is good. One more. This is it.
Okay. Perfect score.
I've been hit by the bus of love, that falling brick of you. Yeah, baby, when there's tears in your eyes, you don't have to lie. You don't need to hide from me. I don't want you to say anything. I see myself in you.
I don't know this one.
Oh.
You've stumped me.
I see myself, geese.
This is Geese?
Yep.
There you go.
There it is. Fantastic. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
Pleasure, man. Thank you. This is great. FINNEAS in the house.